Welcome to the Bare Metal Cyber Security Plus podcast. This series helps you prepare for the CompTIA Security Plus exam with focused explanations and practical context. For a companion study guide, check out the Achieve CompTIA Security Plus 701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. It is the most concise and complete Security Plus guide on the market, built for busy professionals who want to pass the exam fast and on their first try. You can find this book and others at cyberauthor.me. In this episode, we're continuing our discussion on architectural security considerations. This is part 2 in this series, and we'll be focusing on scalability, ease of deployment, and risk transference. These are all high-level design factors that have a direct impact on how secure, maintainable, and adaptable an organization's systems will be over time. Let's begin with scalability. Scalability refers to a system's ability to grow or shrink in response to demand. It's a vital quality in modern environments, especially in cloud infrastructure, where elasticity and on-demand resources are key selling points. But scalability isn't just about performance, it also affects security. On the positive side, scalable systems can reduce risk by absorbing unexpected load, resisting denial of service attempts, and recovering faster from outages. For example, if a web application is under heavy traffic, whether from legitimate users or a flood of malicious requests, a scalable backend can spin up new instances automatically, preventing the service from crashing. Cloud netbag architectures support this through features like auto-scaling groups, load balancing, and container orchestration. These tools allow organizations to maintain both availability and performance without sacrificing responsiveness. But there are risks. When systems scale automatically, they may do so without consistent security controls unless those controls are baked into the architecture. If new virtual machines or containers launch without hardened configurations, they can become vulnerable entry points. If log monitoring isn't tied to new resources as they're created, visibility gaps appear. To address this, security must scale along with the system. Use configuration templates, automation tools, and orchestration platforms that apply security policies to every new instance by default. Security groups, access controls, and encryption settings should be part of the provisioning workflow, not something added manually after the fact. Now let's talk about ease of deployment. Secure systems are easier to deploy and maintain when the architecture supports automation and repeatability. The more complex your infrastructure, the more likely it is that mistakes will occur, especially during setup and update. Architecture complexity often leads to security gaps. When administrators are overwhelmed by dozens of components, unique configurations, and manual steps, the chance of misconfiguration rises. An overlooked port, a missed patch, or a misaligned permission can become the foothold an attacker needs. One of the best ways to reduce this risk is by using templates and automated provisioning. Infrastructure as code allows teams to deploy systems using predefined scripts that ensure consistency. For example, when you use a secure virtual machine template, every deployment inherits the same firewall rules, antivirus settings, and logging configuration. Automation tools like Ansible, Terraform, and Cloud Nanoployment stacks make it easy to spin up environments that meet baseline security requirements without relying on memory or guesswork. Over time, this repeatable security reduces the likelihood of human error and enforces organizational standards. A real-world example comes from a development team that built a web app using automated deployment scripts. Every server included the latest patches, disabled unused services, and forwarded logs to a central SIEM. When an attacker attempted to exploit an outdated component, they failed because every instance had already been hardened at deployment. Now let's move to risk transference. In cybersecurity, risk transference refers to shifting responsibility for certain risks to a third party. This often happens when organizations outsource services, adopt cloud solutions, or use managed providers for security, infrastructure, or compliance functions. From an architectural perspective, risk transference can simplify operations. Instead of managing your own intrusion detection system, you might subscribe to a managed service. Instead of maintaining physical servers, you might use infrastructure as a service. These decisions move some responsibility to vendors, who are expected to meet defined security and availability requirements. There are clear benefits. Outsourcing can reduce the need for in-house expertise, speed up response times, and bring advanced tools within reach of smaller teams. Cloud providers typically offer better physical security, global redundancy, and built-in compliance features than most organizations could develop on their own. But there are limitations. Transferring risk does not mean eliminating it. The organization is still ultimately responsible for protecting its data, maintaining access controls, and ensuring compliance. If a third party fails, due to a breach, an outage, or a contract dispute, the damage still affects your business. Shared responsibility models make this clear. In the cloud, the provider secures the infrastructure, but you still secure your data and configurations. When outsourcing a security function, you must clearly define service-level agreements, escalation paths, and audit rights. A good example comes from a company that outsourced its payment processing. When the provider suffered a data breach, it was the client company that had to notify customers, absorb reputational damage, and manage regulatory fallout. They had transferred some technical risk, but not the business consequences. To use risk transference effectively, choose providers carefully, define responsibilities clearly, and monitor continuously. Conduct due diligence, review third-party assessments, and include security requirements in contracts. Remember, you can't outsource accountability, only responsibility for specific technical controls. As you prepare for the Security Plus exam, understand how scalable architectures support performance and resilience, but require synchronized security. Be able to identify how architectural complexity affects secure deployment and how templates and automation improve consistency. And know how to explain what it means to transfer risk, and why that strategy must be paired with clear contracts and continuous oversight. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cybersecurity Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.